Well, today is actually a beautiful day. It's the end of June, the sun is shining, it's 25 degrees centigrade outside, and I thought it'd be quite nice to go and take this gorgeous Yamaha MT-10 SP out for, let's just call it a first ride review. And this bike has kindly been lent to me. It's a demo bike from my local Yamaha dealer, In Motion, courtesy of their very friendly manager called Danny. So without further ado, let's roll the intro. Welcome back, folks. So this bike is going to set you back something in the region of 16,616 of your hard-earned pounds. It does come with 2 years warranty here in the UK. With that, you're going to get 2 years roadside assistance, and if you want to venture outside of UK and go further afield into Europe, etc., then you can just get some other insurance, which is about 30 quid or something, but you'll have to go and speak to your local dealer. So the SP model only comes with one flavour, and that is Icon Performance from a colourway point of view. So what else are you getting for your extra £2,500 or thereabouts? Well, you get the lovely colour scheme. I think that's gorgeous. You're going to get some of Öhlins finest Gen 2 electronic suspension, and then you're going to get this lower belly pan here. I think that's a 3-section belly pan, and then you're going to get this beautiful lacquered rear swinging arm. You're going to get some braided hoses, and I think, folks, that is sort of what you get for your £2,500 extra above the base model. So let's jump on board and take it for a ride. Before we get going, let's talk about a few of the specifications. So the engine, then, that is kind of the star of the show, really, isn't it? So it's Yamaha CP4 engine, 4 cylinders, water cooled, and it's basically a detuned R1 sports motor engine. So it's got 162 horsepower things and 112 newton meters of torque. And weight wise, the whole bike weight is 214 kilos, seat height 835 millimeters. I'm 5'9", 32-inch inside leg, and yeah, I can just about flat foot the bike, and it feels very comfortable. Pretty much sat upright, actually, maybe a slight forward bend on the upper part of the body, but no more than that, really. So it's a fairly upright position. Bars are nice and wide, and in relation to the feet positions, yeah, fairly lowish down, and they're not behind the bum at all, so it is a fairly comfortable place to be. So let's fire the CP4 engine, which is the star of the show. So there we go. So the bike is actually warm. I'm not revving a cold bike. So we go for a little spin. It's not an in-depth review, folks. It would take about an hour to talk about all the electronics that this bike has got. So we're just going to go for a little bit of a ride on this glorious day and just give you my first ride impressions. So first off, then, the bike itself has only done something in the region of 70 miles or something like that. And just see what the total mileage is. Yeah, 63 miles, that's all the bike has done. So I can't really rag the backside out of it, and I think the running in period, having looked at the owner's manual, I think for the first 600 miles, don't really take it above 7,500 revs for any prolonged time. So we can sort of give it a good old workout, but nothing too mad. There we go, that's clear. It's got plenty of go in it. So yeah, the engine is pretty tight. The gearbox is tight. So it's a brand new bike, isn't it? So it's their demo. It's been on the showroom floor for about a week now. I love the colour on this, the Icon Performance. I love the colour. Weird name, but I do like the colour. Yamaha's MT-10 SP Special, I suppose the SP stands for. So this is what they call a hyper naked bike. So this sort of segment, the whole naked bike segment, is what is really hot at the moment. A couple of weeks ago I rode Yamaha's MT-09, just the base model, the new for 24 model with new switchgear, new TFT, and that was a banging machine. Absolutely love that. This is 998cc, and its competition at the moment is going to be the 209. So here in June, having jumped on the Aprilia website, I mean, they are doing some cracking deals on the V4 factory. I think the V4 factory is is about the same price as one of these, so I certainly wouldn't want to be in the market for a super naked bike, because the choice is unbelievable at the moment. So competition wise, obviously I'm on the SP, then you've got the Tuono. What else is out there? Sort of similar price range, looking at BMW's S1000R. I'm going to say the sport model, because you can spec that up with electronic suspension, this has got electronic suspension. And then you've got the likes of KTM with their Super Duke 1390, which is, you know, power wise, that's got masses of power and torque, but that's massively more expensive, so that's not really in the same group, to be honest. In that sort of KTM 1390 group, I suppose you've also got the Ducati V4 Street Fighter with all the electronic dangly bits at the front and the back, but yeah, you're looking at £21,000. so it really is down to 3 bikes, isn't it? So I wouldn't want to be in the market. Oh man, that does go well. There's going to be a lot of footage of the rearward facing camera, I think. So the tyres are nice and warm, the engine's warm as well. Yeah, there'll be a lot of footage looking at me, I'm afraid. So there's really sort of 3 bikes within the category, and the SP from Yamaha, the Master of Torque 10 SP, is vying to take your hard-earned cash. Now, the bike hasn't really changed since the 2023 incarnation of this version. I don't think anything's changed, but if I've got that wrong, make some comments down below, please. As I say, I have ridden the MT-09. I'll put a link up here somewhere. Absolutely blown away by that one. And if my current financial circumstances weren't what they are, I would more than likely chop my Triumph's speed twin in for one of those. I had such a hoot on it, such a great fun bike, and this is what these bikes are all about, predominantly having a lot of fun. And for the limited time I've been on the Yamaha with that cross-plane engine, which is glorious, it really is. It certainly brings a lot of big smiles to your face. It's very nice. So that's what these bikes are about, fun and maybe with a hint of practicality thrown in there as well. So this bike hasn't changed from 23, and I think this is not being not being nasty to Yamaha, but I think it's due for a bit of a makeover with the MT-09 coming out, which has got nicer switchgear, nicer TFT, and better interaction with the switches and stuff. So maybe this is the last time model year we're going to see the SP in this, guys, with this front end on it as well. So let's quickly talk about the bike then. So if we just start at the front and then work our way back, well, we've already spoken about the ergonomics of it. It's a very comfortable bike to be on, as you've seen from the photos and the video of me sat on it with my doggies. Yeah, comfortable bike to be sat on, and you can get a comfort seat, which might be beneficial. But again, if you've got this bike, guys, just make some comments below so potential owners, either brand new or second hand, can decide what bits and pieces they may want to get for it. Possibly get the medium-sized touring windscreen as well. Maybe some knuckle guards just to keep the wind off the hands. And it doesn't come with heated grips, so I might consider some heated grips. And I think, you know, other than soft luggage, I think that would be about it. It comes with the Battle Access 22 tyres. Very nice tyre. That's all I can say about that. And that's the beauty of the MT-10, to do that. Brakes wise, you've got big discs on the front, and you've got Yamaha's standard calipers. The shame, the MT-09 SP, the new 124, has got Brembo style emitters, and if you're paying sort of 16.5 grand, this is why I said I think it's coming to the end of its production run in this, guys, and hopefully the next SP is going to have sort of the proper blingy calipers on the front. Some of the YouTubers have moaned about Some other YouTubers have moaned about the brakes, but I haven't had an issue with them. But this is only a first ride review. I haven't been riding the bike for any length of time, so I can't make any comment in relation to that. But for me, although it's only done 67 miles, the brakes are fine. I can't remember what we've got on the back. It's just is it a Nissan caliper? I'm not sure, but the brakes are fine. And you've got on the SP version, we've got the metal braided lines, and then you've got the Brembo master cylinder as well, which is adjustable for the span. The clutch lever is not adjustable. Maybe if you took on a racetrack, they might be a bit soft, but the initial bite I find is fine. And if you don't like it, then I guess you can change the pads and get a different material of pads. Suspension wise, well, that's quite interesting. So that's the Öhlins electronic generation 2 suspension. And just talking about the suspension settings, I think you need to put the kettle on and get a big packet of biscuits and just read it and and try to get to grips with it. But it's pretty straightforward really, all done through the TFT. And to keep it simple, Yamaha have just you've got 6 riding modes for the suspension: A1, A2, A3, which is the automatic modes, which are all preset by the factory, and then you've got M1, M2, M3, which are manual modes, and you can go in and adjust them. But on all of them, you can go in and play around with them anyway. Yeah, so you can do lots of things with it and set it accordingly. But that would be a video on its own, actually, that, without a doubt. But it's pretty straightforward, and everything is shown to you on the rather small TFT. It's adequate, I'll say no more than that. And in relation to electronic suspension, down here I've got A2, so I know it's on the A2 suspension. And A2 is really, I think they say officially in the handbook, having read it last night, A2 is for street tyres on the racetrack. So everything's firmed up basically for the street, but they do say it's for the racetrack with street tyres. And then A1 would be for the racetrack, but with slicks on it. So that's how they do it. The electronic suite, it's all brought over from the R1. They basically dumped it all on here. I think the only thing you haven't got is launch control on here from the R1. You've got 2 screens. You can have this is like the street screens, and then you can have the race screen, and the rev gauge starts at 5,000 RPM. That's the only difference really, I think. But all the information is to hand. So electronic suspension wise, 6 modes, and riding modes we've got off the top of my head, I think it's 4 modes: A, B, C and D. So at the moment we're in mode B, so which is, I'm going to say it, let's call that street mode. And then you can instantly look to see what does that come with. So all of these riding modes, these 4 modes I believe it is, they all come with preset settings, and again you can play around with all of those, absolutely no problem at all. And I think it will, when you turn the bike off and back on again, it will retain that setting as well, so it doesn't dump it. But you can then press a button and then reset all the settings back to factory. So you can change all the settings on the fly. So you've got a mode button up here, so you can then highlight, so it's highlighted power 1, just flick it again, then it's traction control, and then stability control, I think that is, and then the electronic suspension, and then back to mode B. The only thing you can't do, which is a bit dumb really, you can't actually change the mode on the fly. So you'd have to actually stop, then the IMU will know that you're stopped, then it will highlight mode B, it'll go white or something, and then with the mode button up with the rocker switch you can then change the mode. So at the moment I can't change with the rocker button here, I can't change the actual mode, which then changes all the parameters that the lovely engineers at Yamaha have set for you, which is a bit dumb really. My BMW just de-throttle, press the mode button and then wait for it to activate and then accelerate again, but you can't do that. So if I wanted to change the power level when I'm in mode B, because it just started to rain, then I just press the mode button, highlight the power, and then I come off the throttle, power goes to white, and then with the rocker switch up here I can select whatever power I want. So let's go power 4, and that really does, change the throttle setting. So there is a workaround that, although you can't change the mode whilst you're riding, you can change the modes within that main mode, if that makes sense. That's very very soft throttle, that is. So I'm in power 4 now. If I want to go back to power 2, which is what it was before, there we go, power 2, it's highlighted, and then back to power 2 with that pickup. The TFT will show you all the electronic modes. There's tons of electronic stuff on here which you can adjust. There's a menu setting here, I'll put a photo up. You can go into all those menus and adjust them. The electronics package then has actually been handed down more or less from the R1, so what was on the R1 is on here now. There's tons of stuff on here. You've got the quick shifter up and down with the blipper. You've got wheelie control, which you can select however much wheelie you want to give it and that kind of thing. So you've just got to sit there, play with it. So many 3-letter acronyms. You need a degree in acronyms to remember them all, but you can go into the systems and adjust lots of things on the suspension and all that kind of stuff, the slip and everything. You just got to play with it. But for today I've just left it in mode B of the 4 modes, and that gives me power level 2, traction control 2, and stability control, slip control 2. I don't know what they are. Well, I do, but I've forgotten. There's a lot of acronyms. I was just leaving it in mode B with a little bit of a safety net. So if I go off the throttle and then with the rocker switch go to power 1, so that will give me power 1, power 2 on the throttle response, gives you a sharper throttle response and gives you full power. Power levels 3 and 4 do not give you full power, like rain mode, I guess. So yeah, it certainly goes well. It's all about fun. It really is. All about fun. That's what these bikes are, is about fun, with a little bit of practicality thrown in there. So I just ride in mode B and just set it to power level 1 with a bit more of a safety net on that compared to mode A. But you've just got to put the kettle on, packet of biscuits, cup of tea, and sit there in the garage and play around with it. But all the information's there. You've got a clock, you've got a block fuel gauge, and I think the fuel reserve is about 0.8 of a gallon, which is about 35 miles. So that's the TFT basically. You've got cruise control on here. The cruise control only works in 4, 5 and 6 gears, and you've got to be above 30 miles an hour. I won't show you how to set it. And the only downside is you've got the slightly old switch gear really. You've got this rotating dial here which changes some of the stuff down here on the dash. So everything's on there, but the switch gear is a little bit, yeah, naff is not the right word, but compared to the new MT-09, yeah, it's the new switch gear is really good. But the tyres are nice, just handles really well. Normally a bit of gravel on the corner here, so I won't go too mad. Yeah, just woohoo, just flick it around. TFT screen, it's fine, a little bit small. Hopefully there's going to be a USB coming out, and they've put a 12-volt power socket down here, but there's nothing in it. It's just a hole, and you've got to buy an adapter to go in there, which is it's a bit stingy really, Yamaha. You could have put a USB, or given you a USB thing to go in there, but never mind. Handlebars, yeah, nice width. The clutch is not adjustable. Mirrors wise, the stalks, I find them just a little bit on the short side for the length. They could be doing with a couple of inches longer. Other than that, the mirrors are okay. Horn wise, yeah, 50p horn. Lighting, it's LED lighting all the way around, and I'm not a great fan of the single daylight light. You've got DRLs on the front, which are the 2 strip lights, and then on the left hand side you've got the the low beam light, and then the high beam light is the one on the right. So it almost looks like your bulb has gone. I wish they would just have both lights on for symmetry. I'm a bit OCD when it comes to that, so I'm not a fan of that. I wish they'd both be on. Front of it here, a bit Marmitey, you either like it or don't like it kind of thing. Tank wise, you've got a 17 litre tank, 41 miles to the gallon, so It's about average really for the group of bikes that it's up against, having done the maths with the tank. So you get about 155 miles out of the tank. So with about 35 miles of reserve, you'll be looking at something in the region of 120 miles before you've got to start panicking and looking for somewhere. The fuel gauge then, the block fuel gauge, the first chunk is from full to half. So you might jump on the bike and find out, oh, I've got a full tank, I've got 155 miles. You drive 5 yards down the road and then it goes from full to half. So you don't really know how much you've got in there. So what some people are doing is just setting the trip meter once they fill up, so they've got an idea as to how many miles they're going to go before they've got to fill up. And there's no distance remaining to empty kind of thing on the fuel gauge, kind of like other bikes have got. Brakes are fine. Brakes are fine. Handling wise, steering is good. There's a steering damper on there as well. I love the sound of that CP4 engine. Very nice. In relation to the noise, Yamaha make instruments, and the air scoops are actually functional on the front here, left and right, and they actually aid in the induction noise production through the speakers here. I'm going to call them speakers, but they're vents. So these have been added. They're on the MT-09 as well, and they just give you that. You get to about 6.5, and you just get that from the induction. Very, very addictive. And then you just with that quick shifter. Yeah, very nice. Seating wise, what explain about the seat, you can get the comfort seat. You can actually take the seat off, and you've got to put the key under the rear wheel arch, under the rear seat kind of thing. A bit weird. There's a weatherproof cap there. Flick that, spring loaded, move out of the way, put your key in, and then take the seat off. One piece seat, and there's a toolkit on the underside of the seat unit itself. Not room for much else underneath. Exhaust itself, so that's a 4-into-1 system. Titanium headers to keep the weight down. I think it's a couple of kilos heavier than the previous bike, and I've got to say the exhaust is quite nice actually. Obviously Euro 5 compliant, but it's a nice sound. You get to 6,000 and then it growls and different noise, but it is a very rideable bike. I found the fueling to be absolutely really nice, spot on actually, the fueling, even at, as we'll see very shortly, even at 20 miles an hour, it's very nice. Some people said power one is a little bit too harsh, but no, it's alright, it's good. If this is your first hyper naked, it's not going to scare the crap out of you, because really below 5,000 revs it's an absolute pussycat. But I suspect that above 8,000 revs, and the bike's new as well, above 8,000 revs it's got more of a giggle factor. But handling wise, absolutely no issue with the handling. The quick shifter is a little bit tight still. Hello sir. It's a little bit tight still. Sight just around the corner, giving a bit of a wide berth. Bit of counter steering. Oh dearie me, that was fun. Yes, all these hyper nakeds, it's all about fun, isn't it? If a bike makes you laugh and smile when it's doing its job properly, isn't it? It's just a good day out. So where did we get to then? Yes, I've lost my train of thought then. So the exhaust then, if you want to put an aftermarket exhaust on it, you could chuck another £1,000 on the bike. I actually wouldn't bother, if I'm being honest. There you go, 30 miles an hour then, so we're in second gear. Fueling wise, even with power level 1 for the throttle, there's no lurching. Second gear, fueling is absolutely spot on, absolutely spot on. Even with Euro 5 compliancy, absolutely fine. And then working back, then we finally got the Öhlins rear suspension electronic, and the only thing both for the front and the rear, then if you want to adjust the preload, if you want to set the preload, which most people never do they, then that's a manual job. So I think you just have to unclip the electronic connectors on the front, get a big spanner out, set the preload, and then get your C spanner from the back, and then set the preload on the back as well manually, and then that's everything done. And that really, folks, is pretty much the bike covered really. One thing I did mention in relation to the dash itself, I did say that, you know, it is due for a bit of an update really, and I think it should get an update, but there is no phone connectivity on there. Some folks like to have their phone connected to the dash for music and stuff and all that good stuff, and I'm one of those people. So I have tried connecting my little, I've got a 5-inch Carpuride screen mirroring thing from my phone, so you can connect it on the handlebars here, and that gives you all your Apple CarPlay and everything, so I think that's quite good. So that's what I would do if I was going to get one of these, either brand new or second hand. And I'll put a link to Carpuride down below. Very good, and it plugs into, although I had to get an adapter myself, it does plug into the 1 amp power outlet down there. So let's go and find some twisties, which I guess at the end of the day is what this bike is all about. Woohoo! Just goes exactly where you want it to go. Very nice. And the bizarre thing is, you go on YouTube and you watch some of these really good motorcyclists. I'm an average motorcyclist, folks. Done some track days, got my knee down and all that kind of stuff. GSX 1000, Fireblades, yeah, and all that good stuff. So I'm yeah, I can bang along in the intermediate group on a track day kind of thing and hold my own. But you look at some of these YouTube videos of, let's say, the SP, MT-10 SP, and you go, oh, it's a shit bike. But it's not a shit bike, folks. It's bloody good. It's a fun bike, and it's practical as well. Well, as practical as a 162 horsepower naked, hyper naked bike can be. Quick shift is nice. Oh man, I just hope the exhaust note comes out. Not the best place to park. Always riding the distance with the 60 thing. Oh, a bit of editing needed there, I think. Well, the tyres are now certainly warm after that little bit of a ride up that valley there. So that's it, folks. That is Yamaha's MT-10 SP for 2024. It could do with an update, but it is still an absolutely banging machine with that CP4 cross plane engine. So that's my take on it, folks. I hope you enjoyed the review for what it is worth. I've enjoyed riding the bike. Thank you for the chaps and chapesses, or chaps down at In Motion, for allowing me to take this out for a run. I've enjoyed it. I hope you found the review of some interest to yourselves. If you're in the market for one of these, the tyres are nice and warm. In fact, the tyres are extremely warm. It's a good machine. Now let's go back to In Motion, and as we do, let's just talk about the MT-09, but let's just have another listen to that exhaust. It is, yeah, that engine sounds very nice, and I think you do need the anti-wheelie or the lift control on. I'm not into wheeling really. I destroyed my GSXR gearbox by wheeling all the time, so I tend not to do it now. Oh, but that just sounds so good. Yeah, there goes the wheelie control, keeping the front down. Sometimes you need all those electronics to look after you. It's a beautiful day. My final thoughts then on Yamaha's MT-10 SP, £16,600. There's a few other bikes in the market then that might want your money. You got the 209 V4S factory now, that's got some offers on the go at the moment, which is a stonker bike. I've not ridden it. In fact, this is the biggest super naked, hyper naked that I've ridden really. I had a Ducati 890R Duke, thrashed that everywhere. So I know about the super naked bikes, but that was the biggest one that I'd ridden. Oh no, then the MT-09. So I've got no idea what they're like in comparison to this one. You've got this, you've got the, I've forgotten, the sun's got to me. You got this, you've got the 209, oh the BMW. Obviously BMW, yeah, very well put together machine. I've got a 1250 GS, which is nothing like a hyper naked, but I've got the GS and the S1000R. That's going to be put together very nicely. Nice switch gear, nice TFT, heated grips. I mean, there's no heated grips on this. It's a shame they haven't got that for 16.5 grand. You can get that as an option though. You can get, as I think we spoke about earlier on, the accessories for this and what I put on there. But then you start putting that kind of stuff on and then you're like, well, I may as well go and buy the BMW. I don't know. So it's really going to be down to what you want. I mean, I do think the colour scheme on this is lovely. It's lush. I do like the electronic suspension, but the BMW on the sport model, that comes with that as well. So you're going to really want one of this SP, really. You know, you've got to be a big fanboy of that CP4 engine. And like I said earlier on, it's not scary. It's scary-ish kind of when you get to above 7, then you've got to hang on a little bit and maybe just lean forward a little bit as well, and let the electronics take all the strain. But yeah, if you're coming from a middleweight capacity onto this, it's going to be no problems at all. You're not going to be scared at all, or apprehensive maybe, not scared but apprehensive. So it's a very easy to ride bike, it really is. I think my mum could get on it and ride it in reality. But yeah, for the price, then there's other bikes out there with a few more bits and bobs on them, really. Now the MT-09, I love that bike. You can get the base model of this for £2.5 cheaper, but I don't like the colourways. Maybe the blue one would be the one I go for, save myself £2.5. The electronics are all the same, other than the electronic suspension, polished lacquered swinging arm, and the belly pan, and the colour scheme. But could I live with a blue one without the fancy electronic suspension? More than likely, but I do like the SP Icon Performance colour, if that's what they call it. So I don't know, I'm just not too keen on the base model colours for the MT-10. I think the engine's a cracking engine, just sounds amazing when you get it going, certainly above 6.5. And get the induction roar through the, let's call it, the speakers on the top of the tank there. The MT-09, great bike. Even the SP model, it's going to be, I think it's £5,000 cheaper than this model. So that's a lot of dosh, and you're not getting 5 grand more worth of performance. So that CP3 engine is an absolute peach. Oh, typical, we're going to want to go in here, aren't they? Absolute peach. But yeah, 5 grand is a lot of money, so that would be a tough call. And the only thing on the CP3 MT-09 SP model is you're not getting the Öhlins electronic suspension, but you're getting that lovely colour scheme and the gold forks, polished swinging arm, and all that kind of stuff. So I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I'm going to leave that one up to you folks. I don't know if I mentioned about the clutch. So the clutch is not light, it's not heavy, it's a bit in between really, but the clutch is fine. But slow speed handling, nice. And then when you're moving the bike around, yeah, the lock's not particularly brilliant, so in and out the garage, the lock's not brilliant. Yeah, just a bit of backwards and forward shuffling. Right folks, just going to sum up then. Cracking engine, sounds amazing, and you've got to hang on above 7,000, and the giggle factor increases as well. So beneath sort of 6,000, I think anybody can ride it. It's a docile animal, if that's the right word to use. Very, very easy to ride, not a problem. Even around town, it's absolutely no problems whatsoever, and it can give you lots of giggles and make you smile quite a lot. I wouldn't want to be in the market for one of these hyper nakeds because I wouldn't know which way to go actually, but this is very nice. It's not without its problems, which could do with being looked at, but maybe in the next generation reincarnation of the MT-10 SP things will be changed. But thank you very much for Danny at In Motion, as I arrive back here, for allowing me to ride this very nice bike. It's been lots of fun. I've enjoyed it immensely. It goes well, stops well, turns well. Seems fairly comfortable. Been on it for a few hours now. My bum's not too bad actually, and it sounds very good. It's very good. It's only got side stand. Yeah, there's a surprise, but it's a very nice machine. Sticks to the road very well. We've certainly got some nice wear on those tyres. Sounds good, looks good. Very nice. Folks, that has been Yamaha's MT-10 SP. As ever, ride safe. Thanks for watching. Comments down below, and we will see you again soon in the not too distant future. And thanks in motion. Cheerio for now. Bye. What a machine. What a machine.